Originally, I was just going to make a quickie about this footage, but as I watched the entire video that Brett produced, man, there was just so much more to tackle here. After a 2-minute long monologue, he finally got to the guts of the video. His video covers 3 tests, which consisted of this smudge, this cool observation, which also included this noteworthy comment.
Left, here it comes. Down a bit. Boom.
And of course this footage, which even though false about the information that was provided, pretty much debunks everything else in the video. I thought I'd take an extra second here because I wanted to start showing some simple techniques for researching photos or video claims, the kind of stuff that flat earthers neither want you to know or to do. One of the first common tasks that you learn in the Army is called land navigation, using a map to get from A to B or just finding out where the hell you actually are. One skill you learn there is called terrain association, where you use landmarks, terrain features, or structures to find your location on a map, or create waypoints so you're not constantly walking with your map and compass in front of you trying to get somewhere. One method of finding your current location on a map is to use a vertical line and available targets. You can simply hang a string in front of you and match it up to at least 2 objects on a map. After you have those locations, then you simply draw a line connecting the spots, and where the lines cross, that's where you are. This technique comes in handy when analyzing claims. You usually want to find out where somebody actually was standing, and if it's where they claimed they were. As good as Google Earth is, sometimes Google Earth can make things difficult for you. For instance, in this shot. This is what it looks like when you go to ground level. The ridgeline is great, but if the lower terrain is also important, it just looks like a mess. Luckily, there are 2 great things in Google Earth to assist you. First, thank you, Google, for finally adding a zoom function to the ground level view. And second, if you want to define a specific terrain features, here's how you do it. Just use the simple polygon tool in its default status to effectively paint the surface of the Google Earth terrain that you want to identify. So when you're at ground level, it becomes more defined and usable. And now, just like the terrain association, you just draw vertical lines to specific landmarks in the photo. Then do the same in Google Earth. Once they appear vertical, voila, you can pinpoint the location. Pretty cool, huh? So now let's go on to the 3 tests. First, look at this one and pay special attention to the comments.
I enjoy this one because the reflection of the laser is on the water. Another impossibility on an alleged curved surface.
Correct. A reflection on the water, clean, crisp image of the laser, nice round flashes, everything that you would expect to see from a direct view of a single light source filmed from a distance over water, without obstruction. Now, here is the flashlight test. Funny, it does not display the same characteristics of the light as seen in the clear laser video. It's just a blob. No reflection on the water whatsoever. It's a bit oblong, kind of goes in and out, not round. Even when the flashlight holder was holding it and raising and lowering the elevations, you saw no change. This is essentially useless. Now, according to Brett, these are from the same distance and locations. But let's go ahead and analyze that footage. So the flashlight was actually filmed from the 10.4 miles that he claimed. But what about that laser? As you can see, the laser does not line up to the distant town, forgetting the fact that we're actually looking 2 opposite ways on this same lake. But instead it lines up to the outcropping at 6.5 miles, which, depending on how high the laser itself is barely an accomplishment and does not need to be held very high to get over any visual obstruction. So, no, Brett, these are not from the same distance. They are not showing the same thing. That is a lie, and here you are presenting it. Now we'll move on to the tidal test of 16 point whatever miles. First, after performing the location analysis, I find the laser and observation locations to be legit. Now, of course, they claim to see a direct shot of the laser, which, again, does not have a round, distinct appearance, a clean flash, or reflection on the water, like this footage. Plus, let's not forget that the majority of flat earthers think that refraction happens upwards, which the rest of us know as reflection. So if you were to say this,
Left, here it comes. Down a bit. Boom.
then the refraction would actually increase and therefore be pointing higher and not at the camera.
Left, here it comes. Down a bit. Boom.
Oh, and I am so glad that you made this slide, because you see, this is an orthographic view. That gives us some data that we can work with, and maybe even try and test it. Shall we give that a try? Okay. Everybody's already aware of the fact that I did this laser test pointing at a ruler. What if I were actually to replace that ruler with a camera? I wonder if I can reproduce the exact footage that you have here. Let's take a look. So ultimately, Brett, the blob flashlight was useless and can be reproduced with refraction over a curved surface. This clean laser was filmed a lot closer than what you let people believe it was, and was not going to have a problem with obstruction at all. And then, of course, this one, which, thank you by the way for debunking the upward refraction claim, can be also reproduced using the exact same method that I have done time and time again to show you that you can bend light over a curve. Oh, and by the way, before you guys decide you want to make claims about the propellant that's in the canned air, the refractive index that you guys keep quoting to me is actually in its liquid form, not in its gaseous form. Y'all have a nice day.
Oh my god.